I'm going to start this off with a warning and just let you guys know that I'm going to talk to you today the way that I would talk to my Twitch stream. So if it gets very rambly, if it gets long-winded, if I skip the point 12.5 times, don't say that you weren't warned. I haven't made a YouTube video in a while, and part of the problem is I got used to Twitch streaming, and everybody in my stream just allows me. You know what? No, that's not true. I hold them all hostage while I just ramble and talk in circles for hours at a time. But, I owe you guys a video. It's been so long, I know. I was thinking to myself, maybe I'll just repost some of my TikToks and Instagram Reels to YouTube because they got the new Shorts thing. And I was like, yeah, that'll give my channel some engagement. But I have a couple of counterpoints to that. One, I don't give a damn about YouTube engagement. I really don't. I don't make a lot of money off of YouTube. I just make these videos to kind of touch base with you guys, to let y'all know what's going on, and I don't know, to interact with y'all. Because I know that some of y'all are still lingering on my channel, but you don't follow me anywhere else. Let this be a reminder that this channel is not very active right now, and you can find me in other places. And the other point would be, I don't come to YouTube to watch TikToks. I come to YouTube to pick a nice, long, 30 to 45 minute video to play in the background while I'm working on whatever it is that I'm working on. So I'm making this for you specifically. You who have been waiting for something monotone and dull and drab to just play in the background so you can focus on your work. Let's work together today, because that's what I'm doing. I'm working on some Patreon stuff today and treating this like a live stream. I could technically be streaming right now, but I don't feel like it this week. I'm sick. I'm sick, I'm exhausted, and I haven't been in the mood to stream this week. I'll get back on it next week because I am feeling a little lonely. I do miss my stupid not stupid, me being stupid. I miss being stupid with a live audience. Anyway, hey guys, it's Kaz. Sorry it's been so long. Sorry it took me almost 3 minutes to get to my introduction here. How have y'all been? Just a reminder, in case you forgot who I am the non-binary artist from hell who is trying and failing. Wait. Ooh. I have news for you guys. Oh, I've been waiting years to make this video. Maybe it's not necessarily the video that I thought I was going to make, but I have been waiting years to make this video. I'm going to slap a nice big clickbait title on there that is absolutely 100% true with a twist. Plot twist of the year, of the century, being that I am finally I'm finally doing webcomics full-time. Like full-time job. Like pays like a full-time job, works me to the bone like a full-time job. But it's not lucky. And I know some of you are gonna hate hearing that. We'll work through it together. It's okay. Also, my dog is with me today. You're gonna hear him. You'll just have to forgive him. He likes to be close to me. So let me tell you what's been going on. I took a hiatus from Lucky, and the reason being that I was having some personal financial difficulties last year, and I was having a difficult conversation with myself in regards to whether or not it would be feasible and sustainable for me to continue making art, continue running a mostly free to read webcomic, and without justifying the amount of time that I was spending on it, because for however much time I was spending on the webcomic, I was having to turn around and do twice as much work on commissions and adoptables to make sure that my bills were being paid. The discrepancy came when my son started school, which I had prepared for that, but it blindsided me anyway, because it's not cheap, and I knew that it wasn't gonna be cheap, but everybody assumes that pre-K is free. Everybody being anyone who doesn't have a child or doesn't know anybody with a child. But that really took me out. And I had to sit there and think about that. Like, am I going to keep doing art? If I'm not going to do art, what am I going to do? Because this is what I've done my entire life. And what a predicament I've placed myself in. What a situation to be in. And I would like to say, because I like to make myself sound cool and put together, I would like to say that I had that conversation with myself and then I mapped out a game plan and I stuck to it and I turned things around and completely changed my life, but that's not the truth. I don't have the foresight to be able to do anything like that. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. What happened was I had some major anxiety during the fall. I was afraid that I was going to have to quit art entirely. So I put my webcomic on the back burner and I just started doing commissions full time as an immediate solution to make sure that my bills were paid until I figured out what my next step was. And then I noticed there was a trend with a couple of new patrons here and there on my Patreon for a certain type of content regarding a very specific set of characters. They weren't lucky characters, but they were characters that I really, really enjoyed drawing. So I saw that I was getting a little support there, and I ran the idea by Mags. I said, hey, what if I do more with this? Like, what if I invest more time into this? What do you think? Because Mags, for those of you who don't know, Mags is my creative partner. She is my assistant. She does my schedule. She does all of my, she basically runs the show here, okay? And she will probably tell you that I'm giving her way more credit than she deserves, but it's absolutely true. Any cool and creative idea that you have ever seen me accomplish or what's the word I'm looking for, execute, she has been one of the driving forces behind that. She will always tell me if an idea that I have is a bad one, or if she thinks that I'm taking a good and calculated risk, if she thinks that I am making a good investment of my time, she will tell me. So I ran it by her and I said, hey Mags, you know, like I've noticed that there's a trend, a few new people are popping up here and there to get access to this material. What if I start doing more of that? She said, you know what, go for it. Because one, you enjoy doing that and you're really stressed out right now, so do something that you enjoy doing. Two, people are willing to pay you for it, so I don't see why not. So I was like, sure, okay. What I ended up doing was I made a goal. Should I tell you about the characters first? Nah, the characters in the speed paint. I've talked about them in previous videos. But I made a goal, and for reference, I have had my Patreon for almost 8 years. That's how long I've been working on Lucky. Lucky hasn't been on Webtoon Canvas for 8 years, but I have been working on it since 2015. And the highest I ever got on my Patreon was roughly 1,700. It never stayed at 1,700, but that was the highest that it ever got, which was almost enough to pay for my rent for a 2-bedroom. So I noticed that my monthly goal was going up because of this other content and these other characters. And I basically decided that I wanted to invest more time in that and see where it went. So I set a goal where if I got to 2K a month on my Patreon, I would update this specific comic 1 page a week. Yes, you heard that correctly, 1 page a week. Now, we all know that whenever I would update Lucky, I would do 1 episode a month, and that was roughly 5 to 8 pages, depending. So I made the goal of 1 page a week for this other comic for my Patreon because I knew that I had a lot of commission work to do, and I didn't want to overwhelm myself because so many times over the past, 10 years, I have put the cart before the horse, and I would always make promises and promises and promises, and then I couldn't keep them. And we've seen me do that a dozen times, taking on way, way, way too much work and then not being able to keep up with the pace of it. And so I didn't want to do that with this comic. I thought, if I'm really going to commit to this, if I'm really going to make it a Patreon goal, I'm going to set everybody's expectations as low as possible because I love doing this. I just don't have a lot of time to do it right now. And if people are willing to support me to do this, then I'm going to start slow and then I'll work my way upwards. I'm not going to, to some people, $2,000 a month sounds like a lot of money. And I would argue that it is. But we also have to take into consideration that is also, I do commissions through Patreon. I do adoptables through Patreon. So 3 days out of the week, no matter what, I'm doing other things that are not related to comics. So I wanted to be able to maintain the commitment, the promise of doing 1 page a week with only 2 comic days available. That was going to set the bar very low so that I could do it and not burn myself out while I kept working on commissions, adoptables, things that were paying the bills. Long story short, we hit 2K. I was very happy about that. I was very excited about that. That is the biggest Patreon goal I had ever hit up to that point. And I was very excited to be able to say, hey, now I can commit to working on 1 page a week for a project that I'm already very excited to do. I have an excuse to do this thing that I've been wanting an excuse to do since last July. I made my character in July, Mags made hers. I've been just consumed with them. And so to have this opportunity to be able to set aside time every week to work on 1 page once a week felt really good to me, because so much of my time is dedicated to, caring for my child. And then when it comes to work, I'm doing mostly commissions and adoptables, which I love being able to get up and draw every day. Don't get me wrong. It's my favorite thing in the world. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be trying so hard to make it work. But I do believe I am inherently a selfish person. So I like working on my projects more, just a little bit. Not to have favorites or anything, but I do like my characters a little bit more than everybody else's characters because they're mine. Justifiably. So anyway, I was working on it 1 page a week, 1 page a week, 1 page a week, and then it's so crazy to me. Don't pause, millennial pause, you old ass son of a bitch. This is, oh my god, it's so crazy to say out loud. We got to 2K, and I said, okay, well the next page update, the next page goal will be 2 pages a week. But I'm going to set that for 3K because, I don't want to overwhelm myself. And I don't expect that to happen anytime soon. Well, not only did it happen, but it happened so fast and then some. So we hit 3K for the end of the year. And I thought, oh my God. I remember crying. And just streaming and crying and telling my friends and crying. And, Mags and I would have these moments where we would just have the countdowns of oh my God, you're almost to the next goal. Oh my God. And we'd just be excitedly messaging each other, couldn't believe that this was happening. 3K. And so I was like, well, now I get to do 2 pages a week. Are you kidding me? This is crazy. This is so cool. So that happened, and I remember thinking, okay, pace yourself, because that happened pretty fast. And I'm not expecting it to go faster. I'm not expecting it to just pop off continuously. But I do want to set the next goal a little while away. So it gives me some room getting used to doing 2 pages a week without getting burnt out or overwhelmed. So in my hubris, I set the next page goal 3 pages a week for 6K a month. And January happened. And January feels like a fever dream, because not only did it feel like the longest month of the entire year, but I went from making 3K a month doing these comics and then working on my commissions as well, to over $8,000 a month. It is the second week of February, and the fire alarms are going off next to me. That's great. Sorry about that. It's the second week of February, and I think we're a little over 8,600. So it has been so unreal to experience this firsthand. And I put off making a video for a few reasons. One being that I've been doing my freaking Twitch streams, so I don't know how to do YouTube anymore without making a complete and total mess. But the other reason being that I worry me talking about this in a video will come off as like bragging, and I promise you it's not that. If you know me, if you've been following me for a long time and you've been watching my videos, you know that it's just kind of always been my dream to just make comics and be able to not have to worry about paying my bills. That's why I wanted so badly for Lucky to become a Webtoon original, which we all know, you know, what can of worms that ended up being. But that's just the dream, is to just wake up and be able to draw your characters and do stories of them and, you know, not have to worry about bills. And it's not a matter of, oh, I want luxury, like I want to make a whole bunch of money, I need luxury. No, I just want to be able to get up, know that stuff is paid, get my groceries, take care of my kid, and then sit down and draw these characters. And I get to do that now. And I'm so excited because it's all I've ever wanted. I wanted it first and foremost for Lucky. I did. But I'm not disappointed that I get to do it with these characters. I know that some people are disappointed that Lucky is being put on the back burner in favor of me working on these comics for Patreon. And for a while I wrestled with that because there was a voice in the back of my head that kept saying, you can't work on something else. You just launched season 2 of Lucky. If you work on any comic, it needs to be Lucky. You can't do anything else. But to that, I say, maybe it was time for a break. And it does feel nice to have taken a small break from that, because not only was I getting burnt out on the story, but I feel like I was depending heavily on the external validation for that. The conversion rate between people reading Lucky and then coming over to Patreon to support it so that I could make more was very, very small. There are people on my Patreon who have been there since day one, who have supported Lucky since day one, and I will forever and ever be eternally grateful for them. But the fact of the matter is, not a lot of my readers were able to support me on Patreon. And that's not me holding, I'm not holding that over anybody's head. Nobody is obligated to give me any sort of financial support or financial compensation for a webcomic that I chose personally to do for free, especially considering that Lucky is and has been since day one a learning experience story. Even though I love it very much, I don't expect people, at this point now, I don't expect people to come out in droves and fund it and be like, okay, this is for season 2. Come on, baby, I'm gonna just pledge a bunch of money to your Patreon so we can get more of this content. I don't expect that for Lucky. Not now, not anymore. Because the fact of the matter was, I was posting these new episodes for season 2, losing hundreds of readers. I think that people were expecting weekly updates. Once they realized it was a monthly update sort of webcomic, they weren't into it. They didn't like waiting around for it. They didn't think the quality of the episodes that they were only getting once a month was worth the wait. And so I was losing a lot of readers, and I wasn't really getting a lot of support for that. Unfortunately, what it boiled down to when I decided to put it on hiatus, like I mentioned before, is that I wasn't making money. And I couldn't afford to take the amount of time that was required of me to make this webcomic every month. I couldn't afford to take that time away from the work that I was doing that was actually paying my bills. And so I stopped doing that. And when I moved over to this other comic and these other characters, and I saw how fast they were blowing up, how fast people were willing to show up and support them and support getting more content of them, I wouldn't say that I was spoiled. But once I realized that this could be a reality for some people, I just leaned into it as hard as I freaking could, because I wanted it so badly. And once I realized that that can be available for some people, that is something that can happen to some artists, I went for it. I saw the signs and I said, hey, Max, good idea, bad idea? And she said, I think it's a good idea. And I said, I think so too. And then I went for it, and here we are. Not even, God, what, 3 months later? I'm bad at math. Don't ask me to do anything. 3 months later? It hasn't been that long. And I'm living a completely different life. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm living a completely different life. Like, my schedule is definitely jam-packed. I am making more comics now than I ever have. I am doing more now with comics than I ever have. 3 pages a week. Whew. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm working on commissions and adoptables for my Patreon. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, comic days from morning till night. Sunday, I'm sketching the pages for the next week. I'm tired, but you know what? I have always said since day one, all I want is a chance. All I want is a chance. Give me a chance, and it will show you that I will bust my ass for this. Give me the means to do this, and I will do it so good. I will do it so good and so consistently. And people came to my Patreon, and they pledged. They came out in droves, and they pledged, and they said, okay, here's your chance. Here's your opportunity. Now show me what you're gonna do for it. And every week, ever since we hit those goals, 1 page a week, every week, 1 page a week. 2 pages a week, every week, 2 pages a week. 3 pages a week. This is week 3? No, this is week 4. Wait, that doesn't make sense. That's just how fast we hit those goals. This is only week 3 of 3 pages a week. And I have been on top of it every single week. I am tired, but it's a good tired because I'm so happy. I'm so excited to do this. There will be, there's some bad news at the end of this. We'll get to that. But my next goal, I do have another page goal, and I'm kind of wondering if I need to set it back a little bit more because oof, we're getting there pretty fast. But my next goal was if we hit 10K a month, I would do 4 pages a week. And I'm like, oh my God, we're getting there pretty fast. This doesn't seem real. But if that does happen, I have a couple of artists that I have talked to. One of them that's already helped me. They helped me last week do a couple of my inked and flat some of my panels for one of my pages last week, and it turned out so good. But I have a couple of artists that I'm thinking about hiring to help me keep up with the updating schedule, which is, oh my God, I'm just so freaking grateful. I can't even articulate it. And that's another reason why I hesitated to make these videos, because I keep geeking out over it and not being able to say exactly, I can't be very concise with my points here. I'm geeking out. I'm literally over the moon. So, this is everything that I had ever wished for. And now I have to tell you some bad news. Let's start with the good news. The good news is, we'll get it out of the way, Lucky is not over. Lucky will return. It's just on hiatus because I am prioritizing my patrons. I am prioritizing the comics that my patrons have chosen. I am working on those first and foremost. I am keeping up with that demand because they gave me the opportunity to say, hey, we are paying you to see more of this. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm going to do more of this then. So that's what I'm doing. The other good news is I've been asked, am I ever going to make a safe for work, quote, free to read version of these characters and these stories? And the answer is yes, eventually. In the same vein as yes, Lucky is going to return, I am just working on what Patreon has requested first. They are all primarily, here's the bad news, not safe for work comics. So if you are under 18, yeah, not for you. But also, it gets worse. They're Patreon exclusive. And why, you might ask? Because it's literally paying my bills right now. It's literally paying my bills. It is keeping the lights on. It's paying my rent. They will stay Patreon exclusive. There's another reason for this ship specifically, Dagger and Dakota, who you see in this speed paint. Their Not Safe for Work comics will stay primarily on my Patreon because I am protective of them. I have had a lot of weird negative attention towards these two since they went viral, which is to be expected. You get a lot of attention on something, people are going to come out of the woodworks to say some weird crap to you. They have no idea who you are, what you've done, you know, like they just see art and they're like, oh, I don't like that. Okay, good for you. So I'm a little bit more protective of them, so I'm not going to be posting their Not Safe for Work stories publicly, but I do have a couple of other upcoming one-shots that my patrons unlocked by hitting those big monthly goals. One of them is excuse me, I did say I was sick. One of them is a black and white one-shot with my satyr character in Mags's Dampier. It will be Not Safe for Work. And eventually when I finish that, I do plan on sharing that. I want to have my own, either on Twitter or, you know, maybe my own website where I can post my own webcomics. I'm going to start setting that up because I never thought I would get to this point. I thought I was going to be constrained to Webtoon Canvas forever, but yet here I am making stuff I can't even put on Webtoon Canvas. I'm very excited about that one shot. It is going to be stylistically something I am consumed with. It's going to be so pretty. And also, not that it matters, but my satyr is 8 feet tall for some reason. I don't know. But I wish I could tell you more about them. I unfortunately haven't done any speed paints with those two, but next week for Valentine's Day, I have an illustration I'm going to do with those two characters that I'm going to try to do speed paint of, so I can put that on this channel and introduce you to those characters. Their names are Ezra and Luciana, and they are very near and dear to my heart. So that's the first one shot I have planned after I finish the one that I'm currently working on for my Patreon. The next one is unlocked a Lucky one shot. That is, you guessed it, Not Safe for Work. And I let my patrons vote which two characters they wanted to see. And, well, I guess I'll just leave that up to you guys to imagine which ones they are. And no, they are not Chris and Red. So, I know some people are going to be like, yeah, I never really pictured, you know, these characters to be in, like, that sort of comic, and that's fine. But Lucky has always been flagged and marked as for mature audiences. People just kind of bypass that, you know, but they are all adult characters, they're adult situations, blah, blah, blah. You know, this is not new. This is just the first time that I've done Not Safe for Work with these characters on my Patreon before. I don't want anybody to be surprised by that. This is just the first time that I'll be making like a one-shot comic in regards to these characters. So, if you are interested in stuff like that, it will start on my Patreon, and then eventually when those comics are finished, I will gradually post them slowly on an updating schedule publicly. So that is what I have planned. I can't, even just saying it all out loud, I have gone over this spiel dozens of times. I have mapped out my comic lineup for the year. I have been on top of my schedule. Every other day I wake up and I'm doing comic pages. Every other day I wake up and I'm promoting this comic and I'm posting it everywhere. And I see my patrons, and my patrons are interacting with me and they're commenting, and I get so many comments on every single update, and I'm sitting here and I'm just thinking, I can't believe this. I can believe this because I want this really bad, and I want to prove that I'm willing to work for it, because the moment I actually genuinely start to think like, oh, I don't deserve this, or oh, I didn't earn this, or I haven't worked hard enough for this, then that's the moment when my mindset starts to go back into those self-sabotaging, oh, well, I haven't earned this, so I'm, you know, like, oh no, I've tricked people. Like, that's not true. I have really, really worked very hard to get here, and I'm sharing that with you guys because I had always imagined that I have this YouTube channel, and I never made the YouTube channel with the intention of it being a catalog of my webcomic successes. I just made it because I wanted to be an art commentary channel, and then it kind of derailed into Webtoon Canvas stuff because that's kind of all that I do right now. And I always imagined that I would have like this archive of all these videos talking about my ups and downs and trials and errors of making webcomics, and that finally one day I would have a video where I could sit down and say, okay guys, I made it. And for some reason in my mind, I always pictured it having a very specific green little label on it. Something about Lucky being a Webtoon original or something. I didn't expect it to be this. It's not Lucky, it's not Webtoon, and it's not safe for work. So that's the plot twist here, because it wasn't what I had planned. But this is the video where I can sit here and say, hey guys, we did it. You guys did it. I'm really grateful. And that's all that I have to say. I just want to kind of let you guys know what's been going on and what my lineup is looking like and where you can find me. I would like to make more videos because as much as I complain, I do miss making YouTube videos. And my dog is snoring because he's sleeping really hard. So if you're interested in hearing more about this very fast journey that I just went on the past few months and what my schedule is like or anything else, then, ask me some questions in the comments and maybe I'll make a video here in the next week or so talking about that kind of stuff because, yeah, I have a lot to tell you and there are things that I have forgotten to mention here. There are a lot of things that I haven't mentioned here that I would love to tell you what I did, how I planned it, or where I promoted, or, how I motivate myself to finish the pages or anything because I've been busting ass. Like I said, this is the most productive I've ever been in comics, in my webcomics, in so long. And I've said it a few times. Yes, I am tired, but it is a good tired. It's not a burnt out tired. It is I'm so excited that this is finally paying off. I'm so excited. And yes, I know that some of you will be disappointed to hear that it's not necessarily content that you would be interested in reading. It's not characters you're really interested in. It's not characters that you know. It's not Lucky. It's not free to read. I know that none of that is great news, but it is what is working for me right now so that I can continue to do this. And as it grows and as I am able to do more, then I will be able to commit more time to making comics that are more accessible and getting back to Lucky stuff and the safer work side of the story for these two characters, because there's a lot of story here that I'm very excited to tell that has nothing to do with, the adult content that I'm putting on my Patreon. And I'm just doing what has been so highly requested by the people who are paying me right now. So I am treating this like a full-time job because, like I said, it's paying me like a full-time job. It's working me like a full-time job. So I am prioritizing that. Like I said, my schedule is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, commissions, Patreon rewards, and adoptables. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, comics. I am booked. I am happy. I am excited. And you know what else this affords me? This is the crazy thing. This affords me the luxury of enjoying parts of my life that I had just not found enjoyable before. Like, I can finish my comic and at the end of the day, I have hours where I can just, please don't bark, buddy. He's barking in his sleep now. At the end of the day, I have hours where I can just hang out or clean or organize or do stuff that I would have put off because I was too tired or it was too late in the day. I caught myself the other day sitting there folding laundry and listening to music thinking, wow, this is nice. I very much enjoy doing laundry. It's not necessarily that I liked the task of doing it. I was grateful for the time to do it without having to be worried or stressed about the things that I wasn't doing because things are getting done. And I don't have to worry about taking on a whole bunch of work that I can't keep up with just to make sure that my bills are paid. I do the work that is expected of me now, and things are taken care of. And that is all thanks to my patrons. That is thanks to the people that have supported me, that have shared my stories and my characters on social media. It is a huge thanks to Mags for allotting me, giving me the inspiration, giving me permission to use her characters in these situations, because half of what I'm doing right now, like I've got a lot of the one-shots that I have planned, it's like one of the characters is mine and one of the characters is Mags, so we go 50-50 a lot of these stories, and she lets me. And if it weren't for her and her kind of steering me in the right direction and helping me manage all of my tasks and responsibilities and stuff like that, I wouldn't be here. So I am just sharing the good news with you guys. It's so crazy how fast things can change. I really was sitting there a few months ago thinking, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to do something else because this isn't going to work for me. And then all of a sudden, it's like the universe heard me, and here I am. It's the plot twist because it's not lucky, but it's something I love doing anyway. And so many people have shown out to support me. And I just... I want to say I don't deserve it, but at the same time, like, I'm hanging on to this for dear life. I am working overtime to make sure that, I guess, to prove myself. I don't know. I'm just very excited. So don't give up, or at least don't give up on yourself too soon. Because I feel like if I had told myself, no, don't do this. If you're going to work on a comic, it needs to be lucky. And I got myself stuck in that same cycle again. I would still be sitting here struggling, taking commissions, and still not being able to make ends meet, and still stressed about whether or not Lucky's going to be able to come off of hiatus anytime soon. Now I have the luxury of knowing, once I get my old commissions out of the queue from 2022 that I still have left over, I'll probably have more time to work on bringing Lucky back and other stuff. That's an option now. I'm dumbfounded. I'm awestruck. I want this feeling for everybody, because there were so many times over the past 10 years where I thought, I'm never gonna get there. And I know nothing is forever. All that I can do now is be consistent, keep doing what I'm doing, and hang on to it for dear life. Because God, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I'm so grateful. If you have supported me firsthand, whether that being sharing my stuff on social media, commissioning me, supporting me through Ko-fi, pledging to my Patreon, I don't care if you pledged for 1 month and then had to back out. If you have supported me in any way, I want you to know that I am eternally and forever grateful for you. I know that there are a lot of people out there that are probably like, Kaiz, get your act together. I know that a lot of people have spectated me and thinking, what are you doing? Why? Hello? So now that I have the chance to actually do something and make something, I'm not gonna let it get away from me. So thank you so much. And I'm gonna go because I gotta go do stuff. If you like what I do and you want to help support my dream of making webcomics full-time, go check out my Patreon. I will say all the comics that I'm working on right now are not safe for work, so you have to be 18 or older to pledge to the tier that is those comics are available to. And I'm also, if you don't care about the not safe for work stuff, I do have other things on Patreon. I post commissions there. I am working on an adoptable set this week that will be going out for sale tomorrow. I let my patrons kind of help me build some designs this week. So we've been busy. We've been having a lot of fun. They came out really cute. I can't wait to show you guys. What's the other thing? Oh, if you want to follow my day-to-day, you can follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, all under Kaiz House, but all the same way as my YouTube channel. And if you miss my YouTube videos, but are like hello, where else can I find you? You can find me on Twitch. I do stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, not regularly, but those are the days out of the week that I would stream. If I do, I'm not streaming today because I'm lazy and I'm tired and I have a headache. But yeah, I do have a Twitch channel where I stream sometimes and we just hang out. Well, I guess the last thing is if you want to read one of my comics that is free to read, I do have a webcomic called Lucky. I don't know if you've heard of it. It is on hiatus right now, sadly. I miss it so much. And before you gripe at me, I just want to say, nobody on this earth misses that comic more than I do. Not a damn person. I miss it more than you. Don't tell me. Don't yell at me. And I can't wait for it to come back because I'm very, very excited to get to play with those characters again. But that is available to read for free on Webtoon Canvas. It's 46 episodes. A lot of it is kind of, well, like I said, it's a learning process. But it's an LGBT sci-fi drama about a shapeshifter who travels to Earth to escape his destiny, but there's a bounty hunter there who has other plans for him. The thing about Lucky that distinguishes itself from the other comics I'm doing right now is that it is the only comic that I have that is specifically Webtoon vertical scroll format. All of the other comics that I'm doing on my Patreon are traditional, which that's a lie because the pilot comic that I did, Third Date, is horizontal for some reason. Don't ask me why. I don't know why I did that. But every comic that I do from now on will be traditional pages, and I will not be making them line format. And even when I start making the actual story and plot for Haunting Dagger, that will just be traditional pages. I'm not doing vertical scroll for any other comic than Lucky and the collection. So, yeah. Just because I like a little bit of variety. No, it's because I missed my traditional pages. But I know that if I work on the traditional pages for too long, I'm gonna miss the vertical scroll. So I need to have two separate stories in two different formats. It's for the ADHD. It helps, trust me. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go. And I hope that you didn't miss me too much. And again, if you have questions about all this and how crazy this has been for me, ask me. I'd love to tell you. I'd love to share my experience. I don't gatekeep shit around here. I will tell you everything that I did. I don't know that it would be helpful for you, but I do want to help you because this is such an incredible feeling. And if I could help any other person get anywhere close to the luck and what's what I'm looking for, the fortune that I have experienced over the past few months, I'm going to help you get there. So let me know what sort of advice or tips or tricks or anything that you want. I will try to make a video about that. I will say that none of my advice is going to be the golden standard. I will just tell you what I did. And if it works for you, it works. If it doesn't work for you, well, you know, I guess it's just the luck of the draw. Like, I will say I did not do anything differently than I have ever done with any of my other webcomics. I made a pilot, I pitched it, and my audience came out to support me. That's all that I did. But I can get more into detail if you want me to. All right, guys. Wow, 42 minutes. 43. Bye.